Welcome to Rock and Recovery. I am your host, Jay, and today I have a special guest, Vincent. I'm going to butcher this name, Hazenboom. I
You're
think
doing
he is.
well.
Did I do it all right?
Yeah.
All right. That's a win for today. We talk about addiction and mental health, and today's topic is just that addiction and mental health, because that's huge, especially in men, especially today's society when it the drugs are becoming normal again, and it's terrible. It's normalizing. We're not trying to normalize. We bring awareness to the issues that are facing us. Men's mental health, addiction, recovery. Any way you recover is we recover out loud on purpose, just to bring a message of hope. So everybody, welcome Vincent. Hi, Vincent. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Jay, for the introduction and having me on your show.
Absolutely. So why don't you just jump right in? I'm not going to ask any too many questions. I'll let you tell your story and your message, and then I'll probably ask some questions, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, do you want the nutshell version or a bit more detailed?
Details.
Cool.
PG details anyway.
Yeah, I got it. So, I'm Vincent. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm 39 years old, and I've been addicted to pornography for 20 years. And my journey started in the age of 12, and I was really confused. I was really afraid of life going out. And one day I got exposed to pornography through a school buddy of mine. And he said, Vincent, you should try and watch porn. And I never watched it. And I was curious. So I tried to see what it is. And it was back in my time, we didn't have internet. So it was all on TV and stuff like that. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to check it out. So I turned on the TV and I saw this men and women having sex. And I was just like, complete fireworks. I was just hooked completely from the start. And also with that, I started to masturbate on that, and then I just fully nonstop. I couldn't stop anymore. I was just every single day watching and masturbating until it got normalized. I believe this was life. This was I needed to do. And on the progress of my journey, I didn't have any girlfriend, so I was really afraid. I didn't go out, like I said. If I wanted to interact with women or with girls back then, I was shaking. I couldn't move. I was really scared of being rejected because I've been also traumatized by a girl in school. So there was all this compound of traumas, and I wasn't even aware what's happening to me. And later on, some on work, they also told me like, "Hey, Vincent, you should watch this website." Then we had the internet, and I started to watch it, and I couldn't stop anymore. I was completely sucked in, and it was so hard for me to get out. And as my journey progressed in 2014, I got a wake up call from my higher self, and I was also deep into video games. I was playing from morning to evening, and I still go to work, but once I got home, video games. So there was a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and I kept on doing this, like I said, until 2014, until I got the wake up call. And the message said, or the message that was to me, it stated, Vincent, you need to get help. And I was in shock. I was holding my controller. I was looking around if somebody was spoken to me, but there was no one there. But deep in my heart, I knew I need to get help. So the next couple of days, I told my parents I need to get help because I couldn't keep on going like this. And they were both in shock. They looked at me like, huh? You need help? I said, yeah, I need help. I cannot live like this anymore. So the next couple of days, I went to see the doctor. I explained to him what's going on with me. And from there, he said, well, I'm gonna send you to therapy. And I was scared because, oh, so I'm now this crazy person that I can be labeled as a problem child or something like that. I was really afraid, but I knew again deep in my heart that I need to do something about it. So I went to seek therapy. I remember there was this huge red door, and I walked into it, and it was this small little chair. I sat down, and there was this lovely lady in close of me. She was talking to me, and then she asked me this fatal question, Vincent, what do you do in life? And I looked at her and I just broke down. I started to cry and I said, I have nothing. I have no life at all. I'm just watching pornography. I'm not going out. My life is hell. I'm not doing anything, just pornography and video games. So I explained everything to her. And she said, Vincent, don't worry. I'm going to send you to do group therapy. But the good thing is, you don't need medication. And I really dodged the bullet here. So I was really grateful that I got someone in front of me that was really aware. So luckily, I didn't have to do that. But I went to group therapy. And from there, I started to go into the therapy. And I started to learn more about myself, about the huge backpack of traumas that I was carrying, the pain, and just the unknown, not understanding myself. Once I did that, I started to get more out of the depth of pain, fear, trauma that I was trying to get out of. And from there, I started to create another addiction, and that was self development. I got hooked on self development books, hooked
Mhm.
on coaching, hooked on everything that I wanted to grab on just to knowledge myself. But again, it became a trap because I was only reading books about fear, reading books about how to get better, how to get better with women. And I usually did first, I'm going to read this book, then I'm going to talk to women. First, I'm going to read this book, then I'm going to do this business. First, I'm going to do this, and then there was always an excuse. I always was hiding behind my books or coaching or courses. I also did the pickup because I was so lonely and I didn't have any experience with women, and I just stepped away from that as well. But that's another story. So from there, I started to go into the self development more and more and more. And from there, I was putting it on the side of the trauma because I didn't understand still what was going on. And in 2017, I went to Mexico because I wanted to explore. I wanted to. So remember, I was also living in fear for all my entire life until 2014. Still, I went and moved forward, still educating all this stuff. And in 2017, I took the chance of going to Mexico to start a fast food restaurant with a Mexican. And from there, I believed I was shit. I read so many books and courses, I thought I knew it all. And 1 year later, I got bankrupt.
Mhm.
And I just suffered so much. I was laughing in the beginning, everything away. I wasn't even aware. It just didn't hit me that I was bankrupt. So 1 year later, I was bankrupt. I had to sold everything there. I had to break up with an ex girlfriend that I've met, and it was so hard. It was so difficult for me to go through all of those phases and extra trauma that I had to overcome. And in 2019, I came back. I came back to the Netherlands, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep on living how I'm doing, also making these mistakes and just not moving forward. And I decided, you know what, I want to do something different. I'm also moving a bit towards the podcast that I'm doing. But I wanted to do something different. I don't want to work the 9 to 5, so I want to do something that I can move forward to and heal my journey. And I wanted to do coaching in the beginning, but I didn't want to do sit in an office all day and talk about that. I also tried e-commerce. I tried many things. And then the same voice told me one day, I was sitting in a train and said to me, Vincent, you need to start coaching. And I said, this is it. I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to be this life coach. I'm going to help men with their porn addiction or with life traumas or what they're going through. But again, I didn't want to do the one-on-one sessions. So again, I need searching and all of that. So then the network marketing came on my path, and from there I was really curious because how you can build teams and unlimited caps of money that I can make. But still, I was really, how can I say, I wasn't really aligned with what I was doing because I was talking about one product. It wasn't really what I wanted to do because I have read so many books, courses, all the things that I've learned on so far. So then somebody told me podcasting. You need to start podcasting. I like your voice. I always like to listen to your voice, and just a light bulb came up. But I said, how can I do this? How can I do both? Because I really like both. And then my former coach, he said, why don't you do podcasting and the networking together? And then I just knew it from the moment that I wanted to do the podcasting. So that's how my podcasting journey started. And 5 years later, I struggled so much because in between those, in when I got back in the Netherlands and now, I learned that I need to go deeper because I was really angry at the world, at myself, at the people that hurt me. But I realized I need to put a mirror in front of myself. And from there, I started to learn more. I started to go deeper into the trauma point. And then 2 years later, I was walking in the streets, and still I had so many problems with women. And also, I got really hurt by my ex-girlfriend. So I closed my heart off completely. And I was walking there, and I saw a really beautiful girl walking next to me. And I couldn't talk to her. And I said, it's enough. I cannot do this anymore. I need to get help. Also, by recommendation from my boss, he told me, Vincent, you need to get help. We see you constantly declining every year, so you need to do something about it. So I finally took the courage to see a psychologist. I also did EMDR with him, and I got deep into the trauma, and that's how I've learned that I had a mother wound that I didn't heal. And that's the reason that I went into the porn addiction, because I was looking outside of myself to cope. Pornography was for me to cope because I didn't have the mother and son relationship that most men have, or when I see it, they have this bond. And for me, with my mom, was broken off. So that was for me a way to cope. And once I realized that, like, okay, now I can finally do something about it because I put that mother wound away. I just shoved it under the rug and I didn't look at it. So through my journey, through the coaching with the psychologist and in EMDR, the pornography triggered and everything surfaced up. So that's how I knew I need to work with it. But still, it was so hard because it was a part of me. I Pornography kept me safe for so many years. I didn't have any sexual experience with women. I didn't have intimacy. I didn't have any connection. So for me to get out of my comfort zone and connecting with women and starting to talk to them was so hard. But I said to myself, first I have to quit pornography because I was always this obstacle that I was pushing myself, running into myself. So this year I really started, or finally I started to quit pornography, and now I'm also building a course for a man to do the same as I did. So that's really basically my story and how it started with pornography and how I quit with pornography.
So your porn addiction started as your pornography addiction started as just a method of coping.
Exactly.
You know, that's so funny because most addicts or alcoholics, it's either we want to fit in or we're coping with something, and we replace that with whatever makes us either feel good or not feel anything. You know,
It was
and
also for me to numb. Yeah, well, I was also numbing myself because I didn't have any interactions with women. So every time I got rejected, I went back to pornography
mm,
because it gave me those dopamine hit to feel good in the moment. So it was more also like an escape. Pornography and video games was also for me to escape because I didn't take responsibility of my life.
and it is also another form of connecting. You know, keeping yourself isolated but still connecting. Yeah, and it's just a terrible way to cope with anything. I know that's there's a lot of people that are the same addicted to the same thing that are so scared to talk about it because there's such a stigma behind it. Because if you got to be addicted to pornography, that means you're also could be considered a sex addict, and then nobody wants to be that. So did you deal with that too, or no?
I didn't have a exact addict because I didn't have any relationship with women, but I went into the pickup. So pickup is really PUA. It's how to pick up women. There's
Hmm.
all these groups and stuff like that. And I started with that because I was so lonely and I didn't how to talk to women. I was always to myself. I didn't know what to say, and I was if I said something and they laughed, it's like, oh yeah, you see, I'm just this stupid dumb guy, and nobody cares, and nobody. I was always talking myself down, but I didn't know how to interact with women. So that was for me a step. Okay, how can I get women into bed? That was for me my only way of connecting with women. If I get women into bed, then I'm this man that I wanted to be, and it just spiraled. Just I went to this spiral down because I believed if I sleep with all these women, I will feel good about myself. I feel this masculine man. But I realized I wasn't connecting. I was using these pickup lines to get women into bed or to manipulate them into ways that I can move them. There was always this part of me wanted to have control
So it's
about
also
women.
like a power,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
for me, it was really to get them into bed because I was trying to get something out of myself to fill that void. I couldn't fill it with self-love because I didn't know how to do that because I never learned, I never experienced how to love myself. And I was in a course and somebody told me, "Hey, Vincent, you need to learn to love yourself." And I looked at her and it's like, how? How do I love myself? I don't know. I don't know how. So it was all this package of get the love outside of myself, and really, that's how I thought to feel loved, and that's what you see in people in relationships. They meet because they think if I'm meet this person or this partner, then I'm complete, then I feel loved, or somebody will love me. But I realized I have to love myself, and that was really hard. So that was for me really. I wasn't addicted, but to sex, but I always wanted to have women into bed because I didn't have the experience. But now I've learned that connecting is so much better than just sex. And I mean by connecting, it's really a deep
A deep
conversation.
conversation, a deeper connection than just purely attraction based on looks or a feeling.
Exactly.
You know, and
Exactly.
once you get to know people and once you stop isolating, you are able to build those connections and start experiencing like true friendship. And in that, you become worth it again, worth it to the people around you. You don't feel less than, you feel loved, just a friendship love, a love of just connecting with other people. And then you start to like yourself again. And then you
And
don't
also
need, and
accept who you are.
yeah,
It was hard, really hard for me to accept who I am because I was wearing this mat. I wanted to be this alpha male so I can be seen as this top-notch guy, but I'm not an alpha male. I'm just a normal guy. I have my flaws. I have my perfections. I stutter. I have my problems. Sometimes I have problems doing things, but it's who I am, and I have to accept it. And if people don't like me, that's fine. I cannot control it. But in the past, I wanted to have control. I was such a nice guy. And it's because I wasn't aware. I did because I think that was the way I need to do the things that I need to do. But I
absolutely.
learned if I'm just being myself and just drop the mask, it doesn't really matter because the right people will come to you and the wrong people will also come to you. But you have to say, okay, this is not gonna work, or set boundaries. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't say no. I couldn't set boundaries. So it's not just about the addiction, but it's also becoming the man that I wanted to be. And it was also the limiting belief, not trusting myself. So through all this journey, I really learned not only to step away from the porn, but also step into my power. And that was a big, really big challenge for me to really step into my power, but also accept as who I am.
So when you talk about stepping into your power, what does that mean?
For me, it's really to do what I feel is necessary. And I will give you an example. For me, what's really important is to educate myself. If I make mistakes or feedback from things, how can I change it? Not just, oh, why is this happening to me? And I'm such a coward. And why are those people not like me? I'm always this feel. No, no. I'm now changing to the positive. Okay, this has happened to me. What can I do to not make those mistakes? What can I do to be ahead of the crowd or be ahead of the problem? And also stepping into my power is really saying no. I really learned by saying no, not just like no and beat up, but say, okay, you're going too far, you're going too deep, you're going over my boundaries. No, we need to talk about this. But because of me not learning how to do it, setting boundaries, I was always afraid. I was always in this flight mode, or in this, I wasn't in the fight mode, but I froze. I wanted to run away because of conflict. There was huge, such a huge triggers. I had this huge triggers in my body, and I couldn't deal with it because when I saw women, I would just, oh, I was shaking on my feet and my legs. I couldn't move. And through EMDR, I started to heal that. But really stepping again to my power is do what I feel is necessary for myself. Starting this podcast, starting a business, I realized doing this podcast, it gave me huge confidence. I really learned into my really in my power is being doing what's called to me because my heart tells me I have to help men. I have to teach men to quit porn or teach men what I've learned. So that's how I've grown and step into the power that I feel. You will feel it. I cannot say, yeah, do this and you feel powerful. You need to do something that gives you power. And I'm not talking highly of myself like I'm this better person than this guy, or I'm better than Jay, or
A power within
I,
yourself.
exactly. You will feel it. You feel okay. I feel I can do this now. I can finally talk to this person that I'm afraid of. I can finally say what's up in my feeling or in my gut feeling that I really need to say. I was always shut off my throat chakra. I couldn't speak up. I didn't say anything. I just let people walk over me because I believed that I wasn't good enough. But once I changed that, I feel more powerful.
And when you talk about that, it's almost like a confidence thing. You're able to say no now. You're able to, even if people don't accept you for who you are or like you, it's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me anymore. It used to affect me too. I was a drug addict for many, many years, and so it would affect me too. And I would just, that's why I would use drugs is for that artificial confidence, maybe, you know. And so, as a drug addict, and I know us addicts all have all one thing in common, and that's how we coped with our emotions, how we coped with what life was giving us. So my addiction to drugs gave me a artificial sense of confidence. So when I started to get clean, I had very limited confidence. I isolated for probably 6 or 8 months, isolated. And I didn't talk to many people. I didn't want to have anything to do with many people. And slowly you start to build that confidence again. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to slowly get your power back and become more powerful as a presence. It's not powerful as in strength or anything else. It's power as in presence, just your confidence in being able to say no, to have a disagreement and not an argument, to have a controversial conversation and not get angry, to be able to interact with people and not have to hide how you really are. That's confidence. That's power.
Yeah, for sure. And what I wanted to add is I was also being bullied as a child. So
Mm.
the confidence wasn't there. So I everywhere I went, everywhere I go to, I never felt enough. I never felt the confidence to do something, to accomplish something because of bullying, of the limiting belief, of whatever that I was telling myself. So I had to learn taking those small steps, also take do the things that I'm afraid of. I can for example, with women, I can read thousands of books how to approach women or how to talk to them, but I still have to do it. And that was my downfall. I didn't take any action. So building the confidence, building the momentum is by taking small action steps. I also did a coaching with John Cooper. He's a dating coach, and he teaches me how to connect and I say date women from the heart. So not manipulative or tactics or stuff like
Just
that. So
being
really from
open
the
and
heart.
honest. Yeah. And sometimes
Exactly.
that's saying, hey, you know what? We have a connection, but to not right now, can't do it. You know, I just don't feel like it's that deep of a connection.
Exactly. And but my problem was I was really my feminine. I was so deep in my
Mhm.
feminine energy and not in my masculine energy. So what happened was when I wanted to talk with women, I was really friendly. I was more their friend than a potential lover or potential good friend. Not like friend zone, but really I'm the man and you're the woman. So there was always this build of attraction. But I was so low in my confidence and I didn't understand women back then. I I was really in my feminine. So no more Mr. Nice Guy. I've read the book and I was like, check, check, check. This is me, this is me, this is this. I checked every box off. And I realized I have to change. I have
Yeah.
to be my masculine and my feminine. And he gave me exercises from doing things. And I was so scared. He said, just grab this plate and put it on this table. And I was just, no, I can't. What if people like, no, just do it. And I just put it there and nothing happened. And I was like, I've been so afraid of everything my entire life for nothing. And from there, I had to take those small steps from getting out of my comfort zone, saying more no. If I wanted to talk with somebody like a female and I just like her, just grab her by the hand without asking her permission, not be rude, but I feel that I wanted to do it and I just do it. And I feel like that's the masculinity, taking action. Don't make excuses for doing something, but still be in the balance of the
Respectfully. Yeah,
feminine and the
absolutely.
masculine.
And all being in a respectful manner too. And you know,
Exactly.
so what are some of the lies that men are told or men are taught to believe in today's society or growing up?
That's a good question. From my own experience, what I always told myself, I'm not good enough. I cannot do this. Women won't like me. I will never get into the relationship. I also had performance anxiety, so sleeping with women was really afraid because I felt if I cannot perform, she will leave me. And that's why I never or I didn't sleep with women because of the fear. And there was always this what I realized was I always had this feeling first, and then I started to talk in my head. So when anxiety came up, then I said, "Oh no, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I will ask her out tomorrow." And then months later, I saw her again, and it just nope, I didn't do it. So there was always this limiting belief. No, I can't. It's maybe tomorrow. I'm not good enough. Now maybe she has a boyfriend. Or what if I start this business? Well, what if I fail? There was always what if. And I realized last weekend that I'd rather be rejected than not knowing what could have happened. And it hurts me more when I don't know. Because I can tell myself a lot of things out, say, well, maybe I'm not gonna ask her out. What if she says no? Or starting this business and what can happen then, but it hurts more if you don't know. That really hurted me more that I didn't take the action. I didn't try and see what happened. So from now on, I told myself I'd rather be rejected than not knowing what could have happened.
You know, we can get over rejection, but to never get an answer because,
Oh,
you know, if you never try, you never get anything.
no.
If you fail to try, you just fail, you know.
And it's feedback. I never use failing or failure because there's no failure. There's no you haven't failed. You tried something, but it didn't work out. And it's awareness. Okay, I tried this and it didn't work out. Why didn't it work out? What can I change? What can I do? What can I make different decisions so I can move forward?
And
But for
that's
me,
almost
it
like a
was,
socialization thing, especially when we're taught to hide everything, being able to be
yeah,
social about it. It's we we forget how to be social in social environments.
yeah, we're social creatures. So we need to talk, we need to express. But man, today they're afraid to express. They're afraid to express their feelings. Now want to have this alpha male look, this alpha male standard, this stoic, I'm the man and I cannot cry. I cannot, if I'm showing emotions, I'm weak. It's bullshit. I always, when I see somebody cry, I cry too. I don't care. It's who I am. I feel it, so I cry. I'm not like, no, I cannot cry. I cannot cry. No, I just need to let it out because I kept it in for decades, and I just always crumble under the pressure. So I said, if I feel sad, I just cry. My body needs to cry. And I see a lot of men, they hold this mask. So I need to be strong because if I'm weak, then I'm not respected. It's all, you put so much pressure on yourself. I'm not saying you need to, as a man, cry in public, even though if it happens, nobody cares. They're not going to laugh at you. They're not going to say, oh, look at this man crying.
And if
People
they
are too
do,
busy
that
with their
just means
lives.
there's something wrong with them. They're just
Yeah, they have their own
hiding themselves.
insecurities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've already got their own issues that they're dealing with, and they can't stand to see somebody being able to express emotion without having to laugh or make fun of or judge. Even this society today is so judgmental, especially towards both men and women. Women are supposed to look a certain way and act a certain way and do certain
Yeah.
things, and you know and so are men. Men can't talk about things. We got to be the man. We got to not show emotion. We got to just have it all together.
Yeah.
And we got to realize that we're human, and humans have emotions and feelings, and we are social individuals. We are meant to be with other people for just that reason, because we can't do it all alone. Yeah, we may try, we may do a lot of things, we may act like we can, but we can't. We all need help in one form or another, all of us. And once we are able to recognize that in ourselves, that yes, I am a strong man, you're a strong man, but you know what, together we're stronger because we can talk. And now we've got a community instead of just being social. Now we're forming bonds of community. And there's that old saying, it takes a town or a village to raise a kid. It's true, because you pick up all these other little bits and pieces of everybody else together. All their experiences teaches our kids, teaches the next generations on how to be. And right now we're coming out of that masculine, it's not okay to express feelings, yeah, from the earlier years that we grew up in. And it's hard to get over that.
It is, and I realized I wanted to move so fast that I was the trauma was catching up on me. The trauma was constantly in this driver's seat. So I said, okay, first I need to start healing myself because I was pushing everything on the side. I wanted to move forward really fast, and I kept on struggling. I kept on, like I said, the trauma was constantly in the driver's seat. The inner voice was constantly speaking, constantly control. My inner voice, I say Vinny. So my brain is Vinny. So that's how I can diffuse it and disconnect it from myself because the inner voice is not you. It's you telling to keep you safe. So that's how the mind works. The mind wants to keep you safe so you can meet a partner and have children. That's its only function to keep you safe to survive. But the world we don't live in back in the time like there was cave time. We need to get survival for food. We need to hunt. All that stuff
Hunter
is not there
gatherer,
anymore.
right?
Exactly. But the brain thinks still it's the case. If we see somebody that we're attracted to, we're not going to talk to her because our mind thinks, well, if I'm going to talk to her, I'm probably going to get killed by her partner. But that's not the case. But it reacts to that sensation like, oh, what if this, what if that?
Right.
So you have to teach your brain it's safe. And that was really hard for me to feel safe in my own skin, to feel safe in my environment, to feel safe in who I am. So I had to create safety. I had to create boundaries. I had to learn to say no. I have to take charge of my life, responsibility, do the things that I'm scared of. All those things I had to start learning and understanding myself. And I had ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, but I never gave up on myself. I always believed there's a way, no matter what happened, no matter obstacle. And plus, everything that happened to me happened for a reason. If all those things didn't happen, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. So I flipped the script. Everything that happened to me happened for me to a reason. And once I did that more and more and more, like you mentioned, when people laugh at you, I flip the script. Oh, they laugh at me because I'm amazing. They laugh at me because they think there's something wrong with them. I just push it on their side so I can say, okay, I don't have to think about those people and just like, oh, what if this and what if that. So I always try, it's not always easy, but I always try to flip it from the negative to the positive. And once you
Yes,
do that, your
absolutely.
life transforms completely. Guaranteed.
Once you change your perspective and get a positive out of every situation, because there's a positive in every situation, whether we want
Yeah.
to see it or not, there's always going to be a positive in every situation. And it's just recognizing that and looking at what we go through differently. And, and talking about looking at things differently, how can sensitivity, you know, because have you ever been accused of being too sensitive as a kid or a little boy, and all of a sudden that tendency makes us not want to be sensitive now? And so, how does that transform into being a strength in men?
Well, I'm highly sensitive, HSP, but also I'm an empath. And it was hard in the beginning for me to understand that because in the beginning I wasn't real or I wasn't aware of those two things. And I had times that I felt the entire world on my shoulders. I felt it was a burden. Or I was talking to people and I walked away and I was so angry. I was like, why am I so angry? Why am I so sad? I don't understand. But I got so tired of it that I said on Facebook, like, I always feel like this. Why do I always feel like sad and angry when I talk to people? I feel the entire world on my shoulders. I don't know why. And then somebody said to me, Vincent, you're an empath. And I was like, huh? Empath? What's that? So I started to go on DuckDuckGo and I said, what is an empath? And then boom, just entire world opened for me. I started reading and I was like, again, check, 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 me. And I realized, oh, so this is why I feel like this. So my advice that I will tell you right now to the people that are listening to this, do research. If somebody tells you maybe you're this or maybe you're that, or you hear something, research. You will find things about yourself that can help you because through being an empath, I learned that I'm highly sensitive. And from there I started, okay, so this is what I am. I cannot flip the script and now or turn off the button and now it's gone. I had to learn to live with it. And once I started to understand it better, I also shield myself. And people say it's woo-woo, but it's not. I learned by through shielding myself, put like how can I say like a cocoon of white light, so I protect it, and it helped me a lot. And that's how I learned. And now, 5 years later, I've learned through between the Mexico and now I've learned it. So it was hard, really. It was really hard, but now I'm dealing a lot better. I don't feel as triggered as in the beginning, and you just it's awareness. I've learned you really need to be aware. And again, for me to be sensitive, I don't care anymore what people think of me if they feel I'm sensitive. Like I said, people will react, people will say something, but then minutes later they're gonna be, oh, what do I need to? Oh yeah, I need to get those groceries. People are too busy with their own lives, and it's who I am. If I'm sensitive, then so be it. I cannot change it, and I don't want to change who I am.
No, not at all. You know, we're all here for a purpose on purpose. And that brings me to my next question is, and I just thought about it and I just lost it when I just said something. That's a squirrel moment right there. Uh, how big is boundaries in your recovery, and what are you how do you deal with your boundaries today?
Boundaries is one of the most important things that I'm doing right now, especially when I deal with people or with coworkers. Then I set my boundaries because I remember many times I didn't say anything. So I let people walk over me, or they gave me so much work. I got into burnout or stuff like that. When we go into a burnout, yeah, there's external problems, but usually it's because we don't say no. If your coworker gives you a lot of work, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do it, and he walks away, you say, hey, come back here. I'm not going to do this work for you. That's setting boundaries. And they would, yeah, but why are you not? No, I'm doing my work and you doing your work. So I had to learn to say no and setting boundaries also with my business. I Some people they talk to me like, hey, I have this offer, and I feel like, okay, I want it sounds really good, but in my heart says no, maybe not now. But I have to say to them like, no, sorry, but I cannot do that. I have other priorities. And once I did that, setting boundaries, my life became so much easier. It gave me peace, not stress, because I finally can say no now. It was really hard for me, but it helped me to feel peace. I don't have to think about too many things. And plus, also with relationships, I also been scammed. I will share you that story in a nutshell. I was on a dating app. I wanted to try a dating app, and there was a girl. I started to talk with her, and she said, "Hey, Vincent, I'm in the crypto." Oh, okay. I didn't think much about it, and we started talking, and then we moved to WhatsApp, and she started to talk to me like, "Hey, I'm this trader. Do you want to try?" And I wasn't sure. I was doing my podcast and stuff like that, but I got intrigued. A part of me said, "Yeah," and another part screamed, "No, don't do it." But I gave in, and my curiosity got the best of me. So I said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." So I started with a small amount. So I did a small amount. Then again, she said, now you need to invest. Now you need to do it. So I bumped it up for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of euros until I lost 3K.
Mm.
And I didn't have much money back then. And once I realized I got scammed, I got so much shame. I feel like, what did
How
I
could this
just
happen to
do?
me? Yeah.
Why did I say yes when my gut feeling screamed again? My gut feeling screamed, no, don't do it.
Right.
I ignored it. It was also boundaries. I ignored that as well, and I just got burned. But it was hard. It was really hard for me to get out of it and also make money again and stuff like that. But it gave me a valuable lesson. Boundaries. Listen to the gut feeling. In the moment that I talked to her, something was off. Something inside of me told me, don't do it. So that's also boundaries. Listen to your heart, listen to your gut feeling. And it's the best compass that you have inside of your body. It's always right. You will feel if something is wrong. And trust that feeling, because sometimes our emotions can be the best of me. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make more money. But usually your feeling was like, no, don't do it. So through everything that I did, setting boundaries is the best thing that I do for myself with everything. If it's family, business, future girlfriends, whatever I do, if something feels off or I don't feel again feeling, if I don't want don't want to do it, or I don't feel I want to do it right now, doesn't mean I'm not gonna do it never, but not right now. Freedom, total freedom.
So I know you mentioned a podcast earlier. What is your podcast and what do you talk about?
I have a podcast called The How to Heart Show, and with the How to Heart Show, I help men to reconnect to the heart, so to get out of their heads and go into the heart space. So I talk about my own journey. I bring guests on, and the reason that I wanted to do this podcast is also, like I shared in my story, how what I wanted to do. Because again, I wasn't really aligned with the network marketing and the podcasting. I'm universal. I can speak about a lot of things. I bring guests on. I can be on a guest shows, and I learned a lot from that as well. But the reason that I wanted to do it is because there's also hidden agendas, and they want to dehumanize masculinity. So masculinity needs to be smaller and smaller. And women, they're now being masculinized, and they think they I don't need a guy. I can do everything by myself. And what I want to do is to have the balance. So men and women, we need each other. Because I can be in my masculine and in my feminine, but still I need the women's touch. I love when women just giggle, or when she just her femininity. It's
The
powerful. It's really,
companionship,
really
even.
powerful.
Yeah, it's the perfect compliment to a male, you know,
Exactly.
and
But
we
vice
are
versa.
we are the perfect complement to the female. Absolutely. It goes both
Exactly.
ways. In a healthy, whatever, in a healthy friendship, relationship, whatever you want to call it. And let's be real, relationship doesn't have to mean any other thing than we are friends. That's a relationship. And so any type of relationship, there's always going to be, you have to have a complement. If it's going to be the yin to the yang, and it's just there's got to be that. So that's probably I'm going to have to tune in and listen to you more often now, because I kind of like that topic.
Yeah, and to finish off that story is I got so intrigued, and I said, I really want to do something about this. I don't want for men and women to go, or for me, my target audience is men, but also for women. I don't want to be for them to be stuck in this masculinity. I want to be for them also be in the feminine, for women to bounce off the masculine and the feminine. But because I've seen when women, or I take the lead, women can finally relax. Oh, finally a man that takes charge, or finally a man that takes the lead. They love it. They don't want. I don't like masculine women. It's not that I don't hate them or stuff like that, but it will fight, because if I'm in my masculine and she's in her masculine, then it's gonna be fighting. It's not gonna work.
Right.
So I have to learn to also balance it for her as well, and also that's why relationships just crumbles, because they're not playing the role. And I realized, okay, I want to do something with this, and because of the agendas that are running, and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to help men and also women go back to their natural self, and not live in fear, not having this anxiety, not change themselves for people, having this mask on, pretend to be somebody that they're not, really being their authentic self, do what they want to do, not what mom or dad tells you what you need to do, or what society needs you to do, or a corrupt government, or whatever, school systems, it doesn't matter. Ask yourself, what do I want? Have you ever asked yourself, what do I really want today? What do I want today? What do I really want in 5 years, 10 years? Your heart will tell you. You will know what you want to do. If you want to be a guitar player and make money, but your parents said, like, no, better to be a doctor because you cannot make money. It's their fears onto you, or they wanted to be in a band, but they were afraid, or they had fears and they never tried it.
Hmm.
So I'm not saying don't do it because your parents say no, but still, when you're younger, you need to listen to them, listen to their guidance, but always keep in mind, what do I want? And don't say, well, I to please my parents, I'm gonna do this doctor, so I don't have any problems with them. Yeah, they might be angry, but if I would have a child, and I would say you need to be a doctor, and he says like I don't want to do it because I want to follow my heart and do this. It would be selfish to say no. You're gonna be a doctor. I tell you to be a doctor because what I've learned now. But I know there's no judgment towards parents. They do what they think is best for their child, and I know. But please also listen to your child needs. Listen to what he or she needs or desires or wants to do, because a lot of people don't see their child's talents. Or if a child is really hyperactive, they think it's a problem. But it can also be a power. It can also be something that he or she can do. There's a small story that I will tell you. I've heard about this. There was this mother, and she had a daughter, and she was full of ADHD. And the doctor said, or she said, I don't know why my child is acting like this. I don't like it. So she brought the child to the doctor, and she said, my daughter is always hyperactive. She's not listening, and I don't know why. And the doctor said, there's nothing wrong with your daughter because he saw it. And he put on the music on, and he saw her dancing like really beautiful. And she said, there's nothing wrong with your daughter. She loves to dance, she loves to create. And I've learned through that story she became a high powerful dancer, like a lot of awards and all of that. So my point is, there is nothing wrong with your child. You just need to explore what he or she needs or what drives they want to do. And luckily for me, my parents didn't, yeah, in the beginning, but later on, when I found my own path and what I do right now, I know they're proud of me, even though they maybe want me to be something that they planned for me. But I need to make my own choices. In the end, my parents gonna be gone in when. So I don't want to be living a life when I on my deathbed and say, I wish
I
I
wish
did
I could
this.
have done
I
that.
wish I did that. I wish I made my dreams come true because I wanted to keep my parents happy. It's time to make yourself happy and do what's important to you.
One last question before we go, uh, and I ask this of everybody: if there's one thing that you want anybody to take away from our podcast today, and your message today, what would it be?
First thing that I want to say is you, Jay, because I love your energy. I love the way how you interviewed and also listened and also put in your touch and bringing this podcast alive. So I really want to thank you for that. And the people that I want to give, or what I want to give is again what I explained, the heart. That's why I'm driven by what I'm doing, because we're ignoring the heart, we're ignoring the gut feeling, we're ignoring who we are, we're ignoring what the power that we have inside of us. So what I would say to the listeners is go deeper, go deeper into the layers, go and heal yourself, heal the traumas, because everybody has traumas. Even though they say they have an amazing childhood, there's something along the way that happened to them, he or she, that you need to resolve, that you need to heal. Because a lot of people say, I'm okay, or they say, I'm good what I have today, but there's always a desire, always a wish for more. But you have fears, the lack of knowledge, the fear, again, fear and thinking that you're not good enough. So go back to it. Start sitting with yourself and start writing down what are the steps that I can take to the life that I want to create. Because you are the creator. You are the creator of your life. You have to take charge of your life. Nobody's going to save you, no government or your parents or whatever. It's time to take responsibility and start with yourself. And that's what I did. It started with one voice. Vincent, you need to get help. And through my journey and through everything, I changed my life. But I never gave up. I never gave up on myself. I always believed there was a way. There's a will, there's a way. And I kept on going. And this is where I am now and what I'm doing. And I'm proud of the man that I am today and who I'm evolving to. So don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams because of fear or what people think of you or what they tell you. Again, start to listen from within And I will guarantee you, once you do the steps that we talked about, you will transform your life. And I will tell you, you will be so much more happy with yourself, but also with the life that you are going to create.
I appreciate you, and I'm going to tune into your podcast. I think what you're doing is amazing. Thank you also for the compliments earlier. I think there just needs to be more people like you and I doing it, because if we started taking away the stigma of what's really bothering us and just bringing awareness to the fact that these things are in our society and we can change them. It all starts with one. Change starts with one person. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So be that change, be that light, be that person. And I think you are, Vincent. And thank you for
Thank you.
being on my show. And until the next time, keep rocking your recovery. This is Jay. That's Vincent. We're gone.
Bye.